oh, these companies are trying to stay afloat. I don't get the impression that they're trying to gouge customers or like squeeze every dime they can out of us. And maybe I think that way because I'm a business owner. Maybe the average consumer thinks that, it's greedy corporations. Because, I think the general population thinks, oh, every corporation is out here to screw us over, make as much profit as possible and screw over employees. And I just don't think that way. I see the struggle, even though I have a small company in comparison to these, mega corporations, but the struggle's still there. Welcome to King Moves. In chess, the king moves one step at a time, but that single move can change everything. Each week, we explore mindset shifts and simple actions that could lead to the next breakthrough in your business and life. I'm your co-host, Ethan King, from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and best-selling author of Wealth Beyond Money.
And I'm your co-host, Justin King, no relation to Ethan, from Cape Town, South Africa. Entrepreneur, speaker, and business growth strategist. Our journey crosses continents and cultures as we think out loud, challenge assumptions, and uncover the small moves that create big momentum. Welcome to King Moves. Let's start the conversation.
All right. So, Justin, we had that conversation about price sensitivity a couple of weeks ago, and we have a comment from a listener. It says, hey, this is an insightful discussion. Price sensitivity is definitely evolving. How do you think businesses should balance quality with affordability to retain loyalty? It's a challenge. How do you think businesses should balance quality with affordability to retain loyalty?
Well, I think we've got to break that down straight into three parts: quality, affordability, loyalty, and examine each of those. And my immediate thought, well, what comes to mind is you can't be all things to everybody. So you can't provide a product or service that is going to be the right quality to everybody. And for me, so it's figuring out what is the right quality for your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And that could be the right quality of service, level of service, or the right quality of product. So that would be the one to service your chosen market segment or your chosen parts of the market. The next on affordability would then be with regards to that chosen segment of the market, what value is the pain or the problem that you're solving worth to them? Because that's very much linked to affordability. I think we can't look at it just in a blanket way. What's affordable to one person or one company is going to be different to the other, and it's going to be directly related or correlated to the value that they are receiving from the pain that you are solving or the problem that you are solving for them. And then going into the third part, loyalty. I think loyalty again goes all the way back to having a clearly defined ICP, so ideal customer profile, and you're wanting to make sure then that the loyalty is coming from that particular market segment. I've fallen into that trap before where you service customers, you service clients who aren't part of your ideal customer profile or your ideal target market. And then you start getting into this weird space about trying to retain them by changing your service offering or changing your product slightly or discounting your rates in order to make sure that they can still be part of the system, where the reality is they're not really the ideal target market that you're looking to get loyalty from or retain. And you've got to be willing to let them go in order to put that focus and that energy into the customers that you do want to build loyalty from. So that's a long-winded monologue to kick us off, but that would be my immediate thought.
Yeah, no, I like that. Do you think there's a difference between whether B2B or B2C as far as the approach to this? Because when I first read this comment or this question, I thought it made me think about fast food restaurants. I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this in South Africa, but ever since COVID, I've gradually noticed your prices creeping up. That's happening everywhere across the board. But I've noticed portions getting a little bit smaller at some places also. And it's like in some places it's barely noticeable. For example, I won't say the name of the restaurant, very, very popular restaurant. And I don't eat a lot of fast food, but there's one that feels kind of healthy that I will eat at. And my kids get the nuggets. And I noticed that they went from a 6-piece chicken nugget to a 5-piece nugget. And it was a very minor change. The price stayed the same, but that one nugget probably saves them, millions of dollars. You spread it out across all of their locations. So little things like that. I've noticed that the salad sizes, the portions are getting smaller and prices are great. So it's like these little micro adjustments that these businesses are making in order to stay afloat. They have to, because wage prices are increasing and the cost of goods is increasing everywhere. The cost of that they're paying for the food. So I would answer this question. I think you need to start at loyalty, because if a customer is loyal to your brand, then they're not going to be as price sensitive. Now that this place that I told you, this fast food restaurant that I told you, we eat there all the time. We're very loyal to them. So we've noticed these changes in the portion sizes and the prices, but that doesn't stop us from going. I don't even look at the price when I go to this particular restaurant, because we're loyal. That's what loyalty is. I might, when I get my receipt, I might notice like, oh, this usually costs a little bit less. Now it's costing more than it used to cost because I'm used to ordering there so much, but it doesn't stop me from coming. So I think if you lead with loyalty, then you will automatically put the quality in there, because that's what makes people loyal to you. And quality is a very loose word, but whatever you're delivering, like you said, to that ideal customer, whatever you're delivering, if you're winning with that ideal customer, they're going to keep coming back to you, and price will be less of an issue.
Yeah, I suppose my argument was just don't drive don't try and build loyalty or tweak your product, tweak your offering to buy loyalty. I'm going to call it buy loyalty or gain loyalty or keep loyalty from somebody who is not your ideal customer, because that becomes very messy. Then you're spreading yourself very thin. I suppose my question to you in your example would be, has your loyalty actually been tested? Because by default, and Coca-Cola have done this pretty well, or all the soft drink companies. I remember growing up, we had probably just a 340 ml can and a 500 ml option, and that was kind of it. Now you get a 200 ml. If you think about it, you go to a restaurant or you go to a gas station and you've got a 200 ml can, which is a very small can. And I think, and let's just use round numbers. It's so that you used to be able to buy a 340 ml can of Coke for $1, round numbers, or 10 Rand, 15 Rand, whatever it is for South African listeners. And now you can still go to the gas station and buy a Coca-Cola for $1 or 15 Rand. But now you're just getting a 200 ml can instead of 340. So in your example with the fast food restaurant, have they kind of, is it optics that has retained your loyalty from the point of view that they've removed a nugget, as an example, instead of getting 6, you're getting 5. The price point has possibly stayed more or less the same, or only increased very gradually, not enough for you to really have a gripe. Whereas if they had still served 6 nuggets and that price point had gone up considerably more, do you think you would still be as loyal? Long-winded question. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, no, it made sense. And yeah, I've actually thought about that. I don't think it would matter to me either way.
Yeah.
And it's so much of an afterthought. The thought that I have when I see this type of thing happening is, oh, these companies are trying to stay afloat. I don't get the impression that they're trying to gouge customers or like squeeze every dime they can out of us. And maybe I think that way because I'm a business owner. Maybe the average consumer thinks that, it's greedy corporations. I'm not sure. And that would be a good thing to find out from people. Because, I think the general population thinks, oh, every corporation is out here to screw us over, make as much profit as possible and screw over employees. And I just don't think that way. I see the struggle, even though I have a small company in comparison to these, mega corporations, but the struggle's still there. And especially when in the restaurant business, you have super high turnover. Oh my God, I would hate that. I mean, I worked at a restaurant for 2 weeks when I was in college, and I absolutely hated it. Have you ever worked at a restaurant?
I haven't. No, I'm probably one of the few that haven't.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew that I would never want to be in the restaurant business because it's just grueling. I admire people who are in the restaurant business and who have staying power. I mean, especially fast food turnover is so high, and you're dealing with young people with like no work ethic, and you got to really, it's exhausting me even talking about it. But I understand the grind, so I'm glad when I see my favorite companies making these micro adjustments, because then that assures me, oh, they're trying to stay in the game. And I'm happy because this particular restaurant chain, the line is wrapped around the building all the time. So I'm like, okay, they are continuing to deliver the quality, and they're making sure that the affordability is there as much as possible, and they were retaining the loyalty. So I think that's one of the approaches.
So let's shift the conversation because that's B2C, so that's very much direct to consumer. And if we go
Mhm.
B2B, and let's speak about services for a second, because I think the question, if I recall correctly, Alex, I think he was in AI automation, so he's obviously in the services business.
Right.
So how do you think how do you think this impacts, or what should service companies be doing in order to manage quality, affordability, and retain loyalty?
Yeah, well, I think we have to split this into two buckets. It's servicing existing clients and then, winning over new clients. So since you use the words retain loyalty, let's start with servicing existing clients. So in order to do that, and if you have to make price adjustments, I think being clear and transparent with why you're needing to increase prices is a good thing to do in B2B. And because more than likely you're B2B, more than likely that company understands. They know what's going on in the environment. So as long as you're clear and transparent with that, then you can increase your rates. And I think that you need to let them know, like, we are here. We want to continue to deliver high quality service to you. In order to do that, we need to go from whatever dollars per hour to this dollars per hour. And then that way you can also retain the loyalty. When it comes to acquiring new clients, that can be a bit tougher. It depends on what industry you're in, because if people are price shopping and they don't see a unique value in going with you versus company B versus company C, if it seems like y'all all do the same thing, then it becomes a price game, like who's the cheapest, right? If you're any, and that's in any type of commodity, right? So I try to avoid, when I coach people, I try to coach them to avoid being in a commodity business. You don't want to be perceived as offering a ubiquitous product or service that somebody feels like they can get anywhere, because then your only distinguishing factor is price.
Price.
And to me, that's a horrible place to be in any business.
Yeah. I suppose that when you are in the commodity space, you either want to be the most expensive or the cheapest, because that is the only strategy that you can have in that game. If you're just in the middle of the road, then you're competing with everybody. Maybe that's a separate discussion. Yeah, I, I, I think one thing that we've got to speak about is, because to the point you mentioned right at the beginning, that a lot of customers and a lot of people out there think that corporations, businesses, most of us are just trying to squeeze in for everything that they're worth and make a buck off them. It's, for most, in my experience, it's actually the opposite. Most entrepreneurs that I deal with are very, very clear that they want to deliver value. And the one thing that they go on about endlessly is building efficiencies into their business. How can they be more efficient at what it is that they deliver? How can they be more efficient at the way that they produce their product, whether that product is a service or a physical product? And I think that comes back to that affordability. So in my experience, again, so many entrepreneurs will say, okay, there is price sensitivity currently. It's not about necessarily reducing quality of product or charging more. They start looking internally and they say, right, team, how can we do this better, faster on the way we produce, the way that we deliver, in order to make sure that we can maintain the same level of quality at the same price and still solve the same problem, the same pain point, and still be delivering the same amount of value ultimately for our customer. So that is one way I have seen people will do it, is really say, I can't control everything that's going on out there. What I can control is what's happening in my business, and how can we become better and more efficient at the production of our service, the delivery of our service, the production of our product. So I would strongly suggest, if that hasn't happened, that people start there and look internally. And I think that will go hand in hand with what then retain. Wonderful gift to be able to give to a client or a customer that has been with you for a long time, to say, heading into the new year, there's no price increase, or because we've managed to change the way that we deliver the price, there might even be a small rebate that you get off the next order that you place with us. That's how you retain customer loyalty as well in a time where there's a lot of price sensitivity. So yeah, that's one way that I would look at it, is just how can you get better at what you're delivering.
That is 100% spot on. And one way you can do that is by leveraging tools like AI and automation.
Do
And
we
if
do we
you're
have a do we
scratching
have
your head,
an advert coming on?
you teed this up so nicely, Justin. I know you didn't mean to, but if you're listening to this and you're scratching your head, like, how can I be more efficient and save some costs in my business so that I can be more affordable and still deliver the same amount of quality, the tools are out there. You've got to leverage AI and automation tools. And if you're just getting started out and you don't know where to begin, there's a great book you can pick up. It's called ChatGPT to Double Your Business in 90 Days by Ethan King.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And where can we get that book, Ethan?
You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to ethanking.com, where it's actually cheaper on ethanking.com than it is on Amazon. And you get automatic updates emailed to you whenever updates to the book are released. You get a free copy of the ebook, and you will continually get updates forever, because since it's AI, I'm always updating the book. And now you get all the up-to-date information delivered in your inbox.
Amazing. Right. Any closing thoughts? I think we covered that topic pretty well. Quality, affordability, loyalty. How do we get balance? Alex, hopefully there was some value in that conversation for you. Keep the questions coming.
That's a wrap for today's episode of King Moves. Remember, in chess, like in business, one right move can change everything. Take today's action step, make your move, and build momentum.
If you found value in today's episode, share it with someone who's ready for their next breakthrough. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our weekly conversations. Until next time.